Hey guys, Ivan here and welcome to the Old School Labs Bodybuilding Newscast. In this video we're going to check out the Arnold Classic Physique division results. So this was your top 3, obviously. Steve Laureus in the middle, on the left you have Terrence Ruffin, and on the right is Alex Cambronero. Coming into the show, everybody pretty much had Steve Laureus winning. Since the last year he was the runner-up. He was better last year than he was this year. For example, this pose right here, obviously he looks most dominant because of his shape, and that's why everybody thought he would win it. But it's not only about the shape and the proportions and the lines and the classic physique that he absolutely has the best in this lineup. There is also about the other things, for example, conditioning that he was lacking. Obviously, he wasn't conditioned enough. He missed his peak. Probably he was a little bit watery. There was a film of water all over his body, especially in his back and his lower abdomen. So that's the reason why he didn't win. So basically right here in the back double bicep you can see it clearly. So you can see that Alex Cambronero right now in the middle looks the most polished. You can make an argument that Terrence was more conditioned even, but Steve Loras definitely the softest here, even though he probably had the best shape, the best symmetry, the best proportions, overall the best classic physique, aside from conditioning, which is most likely the most important factor. Terrence Ruffin, even though he was sharper than these guys, here you can notice that his waist isn't as small as Alex's, for example, so he doesn't have that insane V-taper. His torso is a little bit shorter and his lats are inserted super low, probably too low, and also his arms. And I think that's the main reason why Alex won, why he beat Terrence. The arms. He had more dominant arms, better bicep peaks, more separation biceps and triceps as well. Legs, however, the downstairs portion of their physiques, Terrence was better. I mean, Alex is kind of out-angling him right here, and he's a little bit taller, so he's a bigger guy, but proportionally speaking, Terrence definitely had better legs, especially that inner part, the abductor part area, that meaty, look at it here. You can see a lot of meat in that middle leg area, right between his thighs. A lot of meat right there, which creates much better illusion of having huge quads. Then you can also see that the waist, so waist and V-taper, you can see how Alex's lats are popping out right here, which is not exactly the case with Terrence. He has an amazing flow, don't get me wrong, I mean this is very classic physique, but he just doesn't have certain metrics. And there is also gyno, he has really bad gyno issue, not horrible but pretty bad. It's not ignorable, you can notice it. Look at his right nipple right there, Terrence, not good. Nothing that a little operation can't fix. But right now it was obvious. And I would also have to say that Alex had more polish. He was definitely more polished. Even though he wasn't more conditioned, still his lines were the most visible. Maybe it's a combination of a good tan and just peaking perfectly. Could have he been more conditioned like Terrence? Sure, but still he was conditioned enough and he had the metrics, he had the proportions, the complete physique, very complete physique, and he just deserved this victory. So here you can see Steve Laureus and his conditioning basically. I mean, that's what we're going to focus on right here. You know, physique, amazing. Potential-wise, he has the potential to become the Mr. Olympia, right? In classic physique. I hope he doesn't get discouraged for this, but not at this show, he wasn't very good. Terrence Ruffin, the best conditioning that we ever saw of this guy. He has the potential to place really high at Mr. Olympia as well. Can he win it though? I don't really see that happening with these arms. Yeah, Chris doesn't have the best arms, but I think he has all the other features. Terrence is a little bit shorter and doesn't have the best V-taper. Here you can see Alex absolutely brought it. He definitely had the best polish and overall the most impressive physique in this stage. I liked Steve Laureus last year. I thought he deserved to win the Arnold Classic 2019, even though George the Bull Peterson was better bodybuilder and probably more impressive winner than this year's winner, but he wasn't classic. I mean, he didn't have the proportions, the lines, the shape. And he was able to beat Steve Laureus only based on the mass, pretty much. And that was the main criticism that Steve received. He needs to be bigger. He came bigger, but he sacrificed the conditioning, and that wasn't a good plan, obviously, especially going to the other guys who are not as big as George here. So, Terrence Ruffin, short guy, small guy. He's really short, he doesn't weigh a lot, but he has an amazing classic physique. Look at this. Look at the V-taper, the legs are really looking aesthetic. Look at the stomach. It's really a beautiful stomach, beautiful midsection. Arms, however, is something that should be better. Is it fixable? I'm not sure, honestly. It's probably insertions and shape, but if he adds some size to them, just like Chris Bumstead did, it's definitely going to work in his favor. So not only that his arms are not the best shaped, they are pretty small as well, especially compared to the likes of Steve Laureus and Alex Cambronero, but you can notice also the gyno here. So here is very obvious when he lifts his arms up, his right nipple is just a mess. That should definitely be fixed. He should go to surgery, get that fixed, and then come to Mr. Olympia and do better, because that is a factor that the judges are definitely taking into consideration. They're penalizing that. After that, I mean, just get arms a tiny little bit bigger, and he has the potential to win the Mr. Olympia with this kind of classic physique. Against Chris Bumstead, because he's a little bit shorter, I don't really see that happening. But, top 3, sure, it's a possibility for sure. While I was working on my last minute updates before the Arnold Classic, I had this in my plans. I wanted to say that this guy is going to probably beat Steve Laureus based on this photo and the other photos of Steve that were circling around, but by the time I almost finished the video, the classic physique prejudging started, and it was obvious at that point what's going to happen. So you don't need to trust me, but that's what happened. I saw it. I saw this, and it was enough for me. He really brought the conditioning. Amazing. Now, he did have better conditioning than Alex Cambronero, but he didn't have that kind of polish. I don't know if it is just tan or oil or maybe just the angle, the lighting or something like that, but here in these HD photos you can definitely notice that Alex showed better separation. Even though he doesn't seem drier, he still shows better separation. Maybe he was just a little bit fuller and Terrence was a little bit flatter. But nobody's complaining really. It seems like everybody is happy with the result. It was well deserved for Alex Cambronero. He should bring up his legs a little, if you ask me. If he wants to be, winner of the Mr. Olympia, does he have the potential? I don't see why not, really. I mean, I don't find his physique super crazy impressive, just like I would say that for Terrence. I mean, I love Terrence's physique. It's really aesthetic. And Steve Laureus as well. Alex, he was just complete. And I would never say that he's not classic. He's definitely classic, but there is no wow factor about him. So I don't really see him as the Mr. Olympia winner, but can I say it's impossible? I cannot. If he comes, insanely conditioned, and if he improves his legs just a little bit, just come a little bit fuller legs, standing next to Chris Bumstead, how can you stop him? I mean, what is there that he's missing? Not much. I'm sure you noticed that he's tilting his neck a little in his poses, and that's something he cannot fix. He had a car accident, and after that, that stuff happens, but it's really a minor thing. Everything else is just spot on. Once again, unfortunately, we didn't see Steve Laureus at his best. However, he does have the biggest potential to win the Mr. Olympia, to be the top classic physique guy. The only reason why he didn't do so well is obviously conditioning. So I hope this won't discourage him. I hope he will come at the Mr. Olympia in his best. First, he needs to qualify. I'm sure he's going to do a couple of more shows. He was just not peaked perfectly, but I'm sure he's going to get that conditioning right in a couple of other shows. And Alex Cambronero, obviously rightful winner of the show. What do you guys think about the results? Tell me down below in the comment section. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe for more bodybuilding content like this. And don't forget to keep it old school.